Welcome to Ranting Politics Headline Updates, where we bring you the stories that matter with a dash of spice and everything not so nice. I'm your host, and we've got an absolutely packed show for you today. We're diving deep into two shocking terror attacks that rocked the nation on New Year's, a devastating ISIS-inspired rampage in New Orleans, and a mysterious Tesla Cybertruck explosion at Trump's Las Vegas hotel that has authorities scrambling for answers. But that's not all. We'll also expose Tesla's controversial move to replace American workers with foreign visa holders, and wait until you hear about Elon Musk's explosive response to critics. Then, in a plot twist nobody saw coming, Bernie Sanders is actually backing one of Trump's proposals. Yes, you heard that right. And if that wasn't weird enough, stick around to hear about Bill Gates turning mosquitoes into flying vaccine delivery systems. I promise you're not hallucinating. This is really happening. In a horrific start to the new year, 15 people lost their lives when a Ford F-150 Lightning EV truck plowed through crowds of revelers on New Orleans' historic Bourbon Street. The perpetrator, identified as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, was found to have an ISIS flag strapped to his vehicle, immediately marking this as an act of terrorism. What makes this attack particularly chilling is Jabbar's background as a U.S. military veteran. Having served in the Army for over a decade, including a deployment to Afghanistan, Jabbar had once represented the very values he would later betray. According to military records, he served active duty from 2007 to 2015, reaching the rank of staff sergeant before transitioning to the reserves until 2020. The stark contrast between Jabbar's past and present is striking. In a 2020 YouTube video for his real estate business, he portrayed himself as a trustworthy native Texan, emphasizing how his military service taught him the meaning of great service. But by the time of the attack, Jabbar was living in squalid conditions in a Houston trailer park, where neighbors reported seeing sheep and goats roaming freely in his yard. Law enforcement sources have revealed that Jabbar had recently traveled to Egypt and had made videos referencing the Quran. His descent from military veteran to terrorist appears to have been preceded by personal struggles, including 2 divorces and significant financial difficulties. Court records show he had accumulated over $16,000 in credit card debt, and his real estate business had suffered substantial losses. The attack, one of the deadliest since 9/11, has sent shockwaves through the nation's security apparatus. Federal investigators are now conducting an extensive probe into Jabbar's activities and connections, with particular focus on his recent international travel and possible radicalization pathway. The Houston neighborhood where he lived has been cordoned off by federal agents who are conducting a thorough search of his residence. This devastating incident raises serious questions about domestic radicalization and the vulnerability of major public gatherings to terrorist attacks, even as it adds another tragic chapter to America's ongoing struggle with extremist violence. More disturbing news out of Las Vegas, where a Tesla Cybertruck explosion outside the Trump Las Vegas hotel is being investigated as a potential act of terror. The incident, occurring around 8:40 a.m. local time, resulted in 7 injured bystanders and the death of the vehicle's driver. Surveillance footage captured the moment when the electric pickup truck, which had pulled up to the hotel's glass entrance, suddenly burst into flames. The explosion sent debris flying in all directions, leaving behind a fiery wreck and an eerie plume of smoke. The driver's body was so severely burned that authorities haven't yet been able to determine their identity. What's particularly concerning is the timing of this incident, coming just hours after the ISIS-inspired attack in New Orleans. Law enforcement sources have confirmed that both vehicles were rented through the Turo app, a coincidence that has caught investigators' attention. President Biden has revealed that authorities are actively investigating any possible connections between these two events. Las Vegas Metropolitan Sheriff Kevin McMahill has confirmed that the Cybertruck was loaded with fireworks-style mortars, camping fuel, and other canisters. While the exact detonation mechanism remains unclear, Tesla CEO Elon Musk has insisted that the explosion was unrelated to the vehicle itself, claiming that all vehicle telemetry was normal at the time of the incident. Adding another layer of complexity to this investigation is the potential significance of targeting a Trump property, especially given Musk's political ties to the president-elect. Sheriff McMahill acknowledged these connections, stating, "It's a Tesla truck, and we know that Elon Musk is working with President-elect Trump, and it's the Trump Tower." So there's obviously things to be concerned about there. While the investigation continues, authorities have increased security measures at Trump properties nationwide, including restricting vehicle access near Trump Tower in New York. The FBI is working alongside local law enforcement to determine whether this was an isolated incident or part of a coordinated attack. In a shocking development that's causing waves in the tech industry, Tesla has reportedly replaced thousands of laid-off American workers with foreign employees holding H-1B visas. According to data from the U.S. Department of Labor, Tesla requested over 2,000 H-1B visas. During the same period, they were laying off approximately 15,000 U.S. workers earlier this year. The layoffs, which primarily hit Tesla's operations in Texas and California, seem to have disproportionately affected senior engineers with higher salaries. These positions are now reportedly being filled by junior foreign engineers at significantly lower pay rates, raising serious questions about the company's labor practices. Elon Musk has come out swinging in defense of the H-1B visa program, leading to a heated exchange on his social media platform, X. When challenged about the visa program, Musk fired back with an explosive response, stating, "The reason I'm in America, along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla, and hundreds of other companies that made America strong, is because of H-1B." He went on to make it clear he would, in his words, go to war on this issue. The H-1B visa program, designed to allow companies to hire foreign workers for specialty occupations when there's a shortage of qualified American workers, has become increasingly controversial. Critics argue that companies are using the program to cut labor costs rather than address genuine skill shortages. The fact that visa holders must maintain employment with their sponsoring company to remain in the country has led some to compare the arrangement to modern indentured servitude. This situation has created a significant rift between Musk and some of his conservative supporters, who view the H-1B program as a direct threat to American jobs. The controversy continues to escalate as more details emerge about Tesla's hiring practices and their impact on the American workforce. In what might be the most unexpected political alliance of the year, Senator Bernie Sanders has publicly committed to backing President-elect Donald Trump's proposal to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. The Vermont independent senator seized on Trump's campaign promise, calling it a great idea, and announcing his plans to introduce legislation to make it happen. The proposal comes at a crucial time, with credit card interest rates hitting a two-decade high. The current average rate sits at a staggering 21.76%, more than 6 percentage points higher than pre-pandemic levels. Sanders, known for his criticism of Wall Street, didn't mince words when he called these rates immoral, particularly for working-class Americans struggling to pay their bills. Speaking about the potential collaboration, Sanders emphasized his willingness to work across the aisle on this issue. If Trump follows through on his proposal to limit interest rates on credit cards to 10%, absolutely I will be there, Sanders declared. He specifically called out Wall Street's practice of charging desperate working-class Americans interest rates as high as 25%, 30%, and even 40%. Trump's original proposal, made during a campaign stop in New York, called for a temporary cap to help working Americans catch up. This rare moment of agreement between two political figures who often stand at opposite ends of the spectrum highlights the growing concern over crushing consumer debt and predatory lending practices. The move comes after President Biden's earlier attempts to lower credit card late fees were blocked by a federal judge. In a development that sounds more like science fiction than reality, researchers at Leiden University Medical Center have successfully tested a new vaccine delivery system using genetically modified mosquitoes as flying syringes. The project, backed by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, specifically targets malaria prevention, though its implications could reach much further. The study, published in the New England Journal of Medicine, demonstrated remarkable results. Scientists modified malaria parasites to halt their development at a specific point, creating what they've dubbed GA1 and GA2 strains. These modified parasites are designed to trigger an immune response without causing full-blown malaria infection. In their trial involving 43 adults aged 19 to 35, participants received 50 mosquito bites across 3 vaccination sessions. The results were striking. 8 out of 9 participants in the GA2 group showed effective protection against malaria when later exposed to infected mosquitoes. That's compared to just 1 protected participant in the GA1 group and 0 in the placebo group. While Japanese researchers explored similar concepts back in 2010, noting the potential for painless and cost-effective vaccination, this latest breakthrough represents a significant leap forward. However, the method raises serious questions about informed consent and medical safety, concerns that don't seem to be slowing down the Gates-funded research team as they push forward with this innovative yet controversial approach to vaccine delivery. Well, folks, that wraps up another wild day in the news. From the tragic terror attacks in New Orleans and Las Vegas to Tesla's controversial hiring practices, and from an unexpected political alliance between Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump to mosquitoes being turned into tiny flying vaccine delivery systems, it's been quite the roller coaster. These stories remind us that in today's fast-moving world, staying informed is more important than ever. Whether it's national security, corporate practices, political cooperation, or scientific breakthroughs, each development shapes our shared future in profound ways. For the latest updates on these stories and more, follow us on X at rantingrp or head over to rantingpolitics.com. You can also now find us on YouTube and Amazon's Audible app as well. Thank you, our loyal listeners, for choosing Ranting Politics headline updates. We'll be back soon with the updates you need to navigate these interesting times. Until then, stay tuned, stay informed, and as always, stay free.